YouTube vinyl community, Lovin Spoonful fans, random people on the internet, my name is Giggens, and we're here today to talk about the Lovin Spoonful's debut album, Do You Believe in Magic, released through Kama Sutra in the summer of 1965. This is a Sundays copy released in 2002, a gorgeous copy with a gatefold, and the record itself is a gold see-through vinyl. I'll show you what that looks like in a moment, but really lovingly restored. If you're not familiar with Sundays and Modern Harmonic, look them up online. They do absolute brilliant remastering. Some of the best out there. They are a company that I would love to work for someday. So Sundays, if you're watching, hire me. I'd love to work for you. The Lovin Spoonful are one of my favorite groups of all time. I've talked about them before on the channel, but they are massively underrated, and they are extremely talented, and they were so influential to so many bands, including the Beatles. John started wearing glasses and doing his sideburns like this because of John Sebastian. Good Day Sunshine was based off of Daydream, etc., etc. Like, I can go on about these guys, but a lot of the tips and tricks that the Spoonful did first, other bands did later, and were maybe a little bit more popular with, but an extremely talented group of guys that lasted for such a short amount of time and made such a mark on the music scene. They could do everything from rock and roll to bluegrass to country to pop to kind of cartoony sounding songs. They were so creative, and they seemed like just a fun group of guys to hang out with. So whenever I get the chance to talk about these guys, I'm always excited to, because they deserve so much more recognition than just being passed over as maybe a couple of hit wonders that people these days might see. In their time in the 60s, of course, they were super well known, but these days, as history rewrites itself, they look back in the 60s and say, well, Bob Dylan and the Beatles existed, and that was it. So, anyways, the Lovin Spoonful, they formed out of a couple different bands. Zal was in a group called the Mugwumps with Mama Cass Elliot and Denny Doherty from the Mamas and the Papas. John Sebastian grew up in the folk scene in Greenwich Village because he grew up there, but his dad was a famous harmonica player, so he was always involved with music. They met Steve and Joe, who were also in bands together. They were in a group called the Kingsmen, not the Louie Louie one, but a different group called the Kingsmen. They got together, Elektra signed them, they did 4 songs with them, then they ended up getting mixed over and switched up to Kama Sutra. And the tracks they did with Elektra came out on a compilation album called What's Shakin' the next year in 1966. But once they got hooked up with Kama Sutra, things just moved at lightning speed. They just took off from there. And their debut single, Do You Believe in Magic, came out in the summer of 65. And that was it. Hit number 9, I think. Let me just double check my notes there. Number 9 in the US pop charts. And it's the lead-off track on this album. And what do you say about this song that hasn't been said before? It's an absolute masterpiece. I mean, you get the classic auto harp, the instrument that John was so known for playing. Sprightly drums, catchy harmonies, great background vocals, wonderful guitar leads. It is just an optimistic song about being youthful and in love, and trying to explain the magic of so much in this world in such a condensed amount of time. It's just pure poetry set to music, and I absolutely love this song. I never get tired of it. It's just that classic, infectious John Sebastian, Lovin Spoonful combination. Hell of a song. Then you get Blues in the Bottle, and this is where I love their sound, because they take so many traditional songs and they rearrange them in the Lovin Spoonful good time music of the Lovin Spoonful sound, and you get that classic drawl that John Sebastian has vocally in a lot of the songs. That elongated sort of vocal, blues in the bottle, like very hymn sounding vocal. It's 12-bar blues kind of stuff, tambourine on top, it's energetic, it's just a sing-along kind of song. Great track. Sport and Life, this is cool. It's like a slow blues kind of burner, if you will. I like the drums here, the tap-tap shuffle that Joe does on the hi-hat is great. The lead guitar leads are so well played. Steve's bass is prominent and comes up in just the right places. This particular pressing of this album, hearing the drums on this song is just shimmering. How clear and clean the pressing is to hear those drums so well. Because I've known these songs forever, but this album, this particular pressing, I come back to constantly because it sounds so good. But this song in particular sounds great. Then you get My Gal, which is an upbeat, hilarious rocker. And I love the catchy sort of gang vocals on this thing. It's fast paced, the solo rips along, great drums holding it all down. Lyrically, it's a pretty funny song. It's a crazy rocker, and it was the B-side to one of their tracks. I think it was a B-side to. Did you ever have to make up your mind? I think no, I could be wrong about that. I think it was a B-side to Daydream. I don't remember. There's a lot of songs. You Baby comes up next, and that has Joe singing it. And Joe has a great voice. He nails this song so well. It's a very dreamy atmosphere on this thing. The echo-laden production is fantastic. It bops along with that sort of call and response thing in the chorus. Not exactly call and response, but they echo the vocal with the background vocals. Just a warm, tender song. Really nice, loving vibes in this thing. Total early Spoonful classic for sure. And then side one ends with Fish and Blues, which is also a great song. Total barroom sing-along. Just a lighthearted rocker with lots of good echo. Lively solo and John's storytelling. It's just fun to listen to. It's just good time music like they promote themselves as. This particular record has 2 bonus tracks at the end of side one, a demo of Younger Girl, and an unreleased version of Alley Oop. Alley Oop Oop. Everyone did that song. Side 2 also has 2 bonus tracks with a different version of Blues in the Bottle and a different version of Wild About My Lovin', which is pretty cool. But side 2 starts off with the classic Did You Ever Have to Make Up Your Mind, which was a single well after this album came out and after their second album came out. That single came off of this album. So the 60s were always a crazy time with putting singles out from different albums. I don't know who was in charge of that stuff back then, but that was one of their biggest hit songs, hit number 2 on the charts, I think. That classic story of when your heart wants more than it can handle and it needs to settle down. That opening riff, that melody, classic Spoonful stuff. And it's a hell of a construction for a song. The changes that come through, the duetting vocal, the heavier parts, the softer parts, the construction of this track is fantastic. And one thing that really struck me playing this album, listening to it so intently this time, was how much John's original tracks set this group apart from so many other bands at the time. Yeah, their covers are great, like Blues in the Bottle, Sport and Life, My Gal. They can do all those songs and make them sound like Lovin Spoonful tracks, but when they do their own stuff, that's what nails them down as really, really talented guys to show just how different they could be and how amazingly talented they were writing their own stuff. Not easy to do that, and not easy to just come up with your own totally crazy compositions. But I love that song. Wild About My Lovin', this song is so good too. Another cover in the classic Spoonful tradition, if you will, but I love the pacing on this one, how it bops along. Great chorus vocals, love how it picks up in the middle. Really underrated drumming on this one with that cymbal work. Fantastic. Other Side of This Life. This one for me is always like a deep cut, kind of forgotten about song. I really love how John and Joe sing together on the chorus, and their voices blend together really well. But that bass intro is fantastic. Joe does the verses on this one by himself, but a song about branching out and looking for something else and kind of wondering what else is out there. There has to be more to life than this kind of mentality. I really like the repeating guitar riff throughout this thing, and that clean lead, that tone on the guitar is great. Then you get Younger Girl, which is another John Sebastian classic about, falling in love with someone who might be a couple years younger than you, and you've already matured a little bit, so you're kind of wondering how this might work out. The auto harp again, and this version's great because it shows the demo version on side 1, which was more of a band version, so there's drums on it, and it's kind of a different pacing, and the timing's a little bit more structured. This one's a little bit more dreamy. As far as I remember, there's no drums on it, but it definitely takes on a softer tone. The atmosphere is a lot more lighter, and I like this version the best. They did a good job with picking out this one as the version to go with. Dig this track. Nice and sweet. On the Road Again, classic upbeat rocker, what can you say? Loose, slamming, raucous, the drums are just jamming the whole way through, total sing-along. And then Night Owl Blues ends this thing. It's a perfectly led harmonica romp through a cloudy, smoky room at the blues bar late at night as they're locking up. They're just having their last jam. It shows off their talents together as an instrumental group. So fantastic album. It ends with Blues in the Bottle, alternate, and Wild About My Lovin', alternate. So let me give you a closer look at the inside. Tons of information about the group. Some nice pictures. All kinds of pictures of their record labels and 45 sleeves. Now let me show you the record itself. I posted this on my Instagram a very long time ago. Oh, here's a sticker that came on the front, on the shrink wrap. Sundays, colored vinyl. And I love these stickers. You know, nothing sounds as wondrous as a well-made record. It's exactly how the artist wanted you to hear their music. It's true. But dig this. Oh, this is so cool. This is so cool. Love it. So they replicated the original Kama Sutra labels. And as far as I know, these are still available on their site. I know they definitely still sell the Lovin Spoonful stuff on their website because I was looking it up recently. But yeah, I have to double check if the colored record is still on there. See if I can get this back in smoothly without damaging anything. Some of these gatefolds are like really, really tight. There we go. Anyways, absolutely love this album. One of the best things the 60s ever produced was a Lovin Spoonful. This for me is a 9 out of 10 album, hands down, no doubt. If you haven't heard a full album by the Lovin Spoonful, this is a great one to get into. This really showcases where they'd go on their next couple of albums with the John Sebastian version of the group, and when Zal was still in the band. Yeah, super talented group of guys. That's it. My name is Giggens. This has been the Lovin Spoonful. Do you believe in magic? 8 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.